What's going on, friends? Harley-Davidson absolutely hates its own products. And by hating its own products, I don't mean its new products. They love its new products. What Harley-Davidson doesn't like is the older Harley-Davidson models, the twin cams, the Evos. Harley-Davidson is trying to stomp these bikes out as best they can from what they can do in their position as the original parts manufacturer. Now, fortunately for us that have older Harley-Davidsons, and if you ride an older twin cam or an Evo, there's a strong aftermarket out there that could really help combat this. But in some areas, the aftermarket just quite hasn't caught up to the parts that Harley-Davidson is discontinuing. It's no secret that Harley-Davidson motorcycles can be generational motorcycles. Just for the fact that there is so much parts out there, there's so much support out there, and not only that, there is so much knowledge out there. What is going to convince you to go down to a Harley-Davidson dealer and put down $20,000+ on a brand new Harley-Davidson that honestly really doesn't sound like a Harley-Davidson anymore in a lot of people's opinions, including mine? No offense if you own a Milwaukee 8, but with the stock cam in it, those things just don't have the thump that the Evo and the twin cam had. Guys, please don't forget, if you enjoyed today's video, please don't forget to hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. For quite a while now, Harley-Davidson has been taking measures to try to combat its own used motorcycles. Harley-Davidson actually went out and started their own HarleyDavidson Marketplace, where basically allowed dealers to feature their used inventory just to try to get some bikes moving. And it's no secret because the new bikes, well, they're pretty darn expensive considering we got a CVO now that'll run you $50,000+. But the other thing that Harley-Davidson has been trying to do is they've been discontinuing parts. And not just major hard parts like engine components and things like that. They are actually starting to discontinue electronic parts. And the issue with Harley-Davidson discontinuing electronics for the older bikes is that you basically need these things to run. They're starting to discontinue modules and other different kinds of circuitry, and what this does is it can basically effectively disable the whole motorcycle. This normally wouldn't be an issue, but the problem is that the aftermarket really hasn't caught up to this yet. Will it happen? Probably so. But if you were to have a failure on a major electronic component within your newer Harley-Davidson, no, I say newer, older Harley-Davidson, if you were to have a failure like that, your best bet's going to be trying to find another used part and hoping that you don't have the same problem. We're kind of getting back to the issue that we have with the Magneti Marelli systems. Not a lot of people know how to work on them. There really are no parts available for them. And if you do find parts, you've got to hope and pray that that used part doesn't have the same problem you're trying to fix. Another way that Harley-Davidson is really trying to kind of turn people off of the older Harley-Davidsons and get them on newer bikes is that a lot of the dealerships are going to where they won't work on anything over 10 years old. And not only that, that's just could be an issue of having an older bike. They fix one thing, something else breaks. And not only that, a lot of times they just don't have the time, or they may not even have the technicians with the knowledge to work on the older bikes and take the time that it's going to take to diagnose some of these issues. Anymore, it really seems like the dealerships are just more interested in the Milwaukee 8 coming in. Let's put some pipes on it. Let's put a cam on it. Screamin Eagle tuner. Just really straightforward, easy things. Another issue with the dealerships anymore is that a lot of the senior technicians, these guys are retiring. And when they retire, all that knowledge of the shovel head, the Evo, even the twin cam engines retires with them. A lot of newer guys coming in that are going in that are specializing in Harley-Davidson, these guys are getting trained on the Milwaukee 8. They may also get a little school on the twin cam engine, which as a technician isn't honestly a bad idea. But once you go through that time and effort to get through learning the Milwaukee 8 and learning the twin cam engine, so once a young technician gets done with the Milwaukee 8 and the twin cam engine, they've got a couple of options they could go with. They've already spent a lot of time and money in school. They're looking at, do I go and learn how to install Screamin Eagle performance parts, or do I learn how to go work on an Evo or a shovel head? A lot of these young guys, they could care less about the Evo or the shovel head. They want to go learn the Screamin Eagle parts. So with all that said, if you're riding an older Harley-Davidson, you've really got a bike that's got some soul to it. You've got a bike that you can work on in your own garage. And not only that, the parts availability is just insane out there for any Evolution engine or twin cam engine, or even if you guys ride the shovel head. Now, on the other side of the coin, if you don't work on your own motorcycle, you really don't, if it's just not your thing, I totally get that. But, like I mentioned, dealerships really aren't going to want to mess with those. There are so many independently owned shops that are small businesses that have a wealth of knowledge in there, some really highly skilled technicians, and these guys would love your business. And not only that, you're supporting a small business and you're not giving your money to some big corporate owned dealership. It's very rare anymore that any Harley-Davidson dealership is actually independently owned. A lot of these dealerships are owned by big umbrella parent companies. So for sure, if you don't do your own work, support your local indie dealer. These guys got to put food on the table for their families too, and they'd love to have your business. And their reputation personally is on the line. Not only their personal reputation, but the name on the front of their business. So they want to do the absolute best job that they can do for you. They want to get you back on the road as quickly as possible and make you as happy as you could possibly be with the parts you decided to purchase and the service that you received within their shop. Now, even though Harley-Davidson really is trying to stomp out the older bikes and they want to get you on this newer stuff, I understand the corporation's got to make money, but not all is lost on these used bikes. Personally, I love the used Harley-Davidsons because 1, parts availability. Number 2, there's so much knowledge out there. And also, big bore kits, camshafts, all these performance parts that you could put into your bike to get more power out of it and make a used motorcycle something truly unique, rather than going out and spending $20,000 to say $40,000 on a brand new bike. Are they nice? Absolutely, they're beautiful motorcycles. But then you've got a big payment, and then the bike's pretty much just stock for a really long time, unless you're rich and you can afford to go ahead and do the extra work to it. And even if you're not rich, you're probably going to end up financing it, and who needs another bill these days? Another thing we are very fortunate to have with the used Harley-Davidsons, the older ones, most Harley-Davidsons are generally well loved and well cared for. I know not every bike is treated that way, but most Harleys were very well taken care of. These bikes were actually loved. They were garaged, they were kept clean, they were ridden regularly. I mean, it's kind of hard to go wrong on these. Now, don't get me wrong, there are some ragged out bikes out there that people just didn't give a crap about and left outside, tore them up, but guys, there ain't nothing wrong with a good old Harley-Davidson motorcycle, whether it be the Evo, the Twin Cam 88, a 96, or a 103. There's so much knowledge out there. There's so many parts out there. There's so many great benefits, not to mention just the cost of these bikes and what it takes to get into one. I mean, heck, a lot of these bikes, you can pay cash for them, and what would otherwise be maybe even a decent down payment on a brand new one. But guys, I understand if you don't want to work on your own bike, you don't want to mess with some of the things that could come up with an older Harley-Davidson, there's always the newer dealership, but that's pretty pricey, honestly. So yeah, if you guys can't tell, I am a big fan of independent shops and used Harley-Davidson motorcycles. I love to see somebody go out, buy a used Harley-Davidson, and make it something truly special. Make it something a lot more unique than just your standard showroom floor-bought motorcycle that's completely stock or just has some bolt-on parts on it. You got a bike that's truly unique, and sometimes these bikes even come with a really cool story depending on who owned it. But anyhow guys, get ready for some changes in the background. I've got a surprise coming. I don't know how I'm going to make this work, but I'm going to do everything I can to get everything set up for next week's video. So guys, stick in there, hang with me. I'm going to try and get another video done for next week, but I guarantee you, we got a whole new scenery coming in the background. But anyhow guys, that's all I've got for you this week. If you guys enjoyed the video, please don't forget to give that video a like and consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't done so already. But hopefully next week, I'll have a new video for you. But until then, hang tight. You guys ride smart, stay safe, dodge the cars, and I'll catch you back here hopefully next week with a brand new video. Thanks for watching.